Hey y'all, it's Vanessa with Farmgirl Gardens and Market, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I am an edible garden coach and permaculture designer in North Central Texas, and I have been taking y'all along with me on my journey to kind of recover this somewhat neglected small farmstead. So typically I do a lot of grow with me videos. I do run a nonprofit agro-stem school garden based nonprofit, so I share a lot of kind of tips and tricks for not only growing sustainably, but then how to get your kiddos involved too. But I have never done a plant haul before. Most of that is because I typically propagate all of my plants from seeds. I really deeply believe in not only sustainable organic gardening, but that we need to protect the genetic legacy of our heirloom plants. So oftentimes I'm, generating seeds that are hard to find, or cultivars that you just wouldn't get in the store. But this season is a little bit different for me. I've been rocking some pretty significant injuries, which have kept me from doing a lot of the things that I typically do. And the timing just got away from me. If you've been following Texas on the news, we made the news for the weather. We actually had negative degree temperatures. And so a lot of things have just been crazy, and propagating seeds was not going to happen. So I was driving around, and one of the places that I've never thought to look for plant starts is Ace Hardware. So this video isn't sponsored, although if Ace wants to send me some plant money, I'm all about that. But I was driving past the Ace Hardware, and they have these beautiful plants out. So of course I stopped to look at them because you can't help yourself. And I wanted to kind of show you what I got and why. So I got this flat of plants. This ran me, I want to say, about $25. The individual plants were a little bit more expensive than what you would find at Walmart, but I'm talking like pennies on the dollar. So I want to say that this was actually, I know this was $3 flat, and typically you get a similar sized 4-inch pot for like $2.50, or sometimes it's 2 for $5, the way that it's marked at Walmart or even Home Depot or Lowe's. The reason why I wasn't worried about spending just that tiny little extra bit of money is that the plant quality was so much better. There was no evidence of blight, leaf miner, inconsistent watering, dampening off, all of the things that you typically see in, some of the bigger box stores. The reasons why you'll see gardeners like picking through the plants is because a lot of the times they just get beat up in shipping and they're not that healthy. Ace, I was really surprised to see how healthy they are. They almost look like they were propagated at a local nursery and then just sent to Ace. So I don't know, probably should have done some research on that. I don't know where they get their plants, but they're really healthy. And also, more important than that, if you're going to be picking up plant starts, because it is relatively easy to learn how to propagate your own, the exceptions to those are nightshades. So tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, those are really small, finicky seeds, and it can be worth it, instead of buying all the things that you need to propagate those, like the grow lights and the special seed cells and seed starting medium. It is worth it to buy those things if you're, to scale, if you're going to be doing this for a long time, or lots of different varieties, or you want the fun stuff. But if you're just getting started and you need a jump on the season, I think the reason I really wanted to focus on doing this video was to share with you that put your money where it matters, right? So if you're going to be spending, $3 a pop, sometimes even up to $5 in some of the stores, and especially the nurseries, my goodness, those are expensive. Get the plants that are the healthiest, that are the hardest to start from seed on your own, that give you the biggest jump in season, and that also are the rarest variety. So Ace had beautiful selection, really healthy plants, but then also they have a lot of GMO-free and heirloom cultivars. So this is a Cherokee Purple tomato. This is something that I typically would grow from seed, and you don't see Cherokee Purples all that often. So this was a good price point, a really good return on the value. Another one that I saw was a Chef's Choice Yellow. This might actually be like a Winchie's Yellow. I think there's a chance that they didn't label it Winchie's Yellow because of potentially copywriting, because I've never actually just heard it called Chef's Choice, but that could just be a different type of yellow tomato. But it's definitely a slicing tomato, looks just like a Winchie's Yellow. And again, this is something that you're not going to see at Walmart. They don't carry these at Lowe's. so wanted to pick that guy up. I also got a sun sugar tomato. I have never actually grown this before. It is GMO free, and so I went ahead and picked this up to try it out. And then the last kind of fun tomato that I found was this Beefmaster. And even though Beefmaster is actually not too rare, you probably would find that at Walmart or Lowe's, this was just a really good quality plant, and it allowed me to share a super secret tip with you, which is be that person that looks through all of the plants, because when they're propagating these plants at the nursery, especially nightshades where these seeds are so small, they're putting a bunch of seeds in one little container. And oftentimes you will get multiple plants in the same pot. And so that's the case with this. If you can see, these are two independent plants. And so I was immediately getting a savings on buying this plant because I spent $3 for it instead of $6 for what it should have been for 2. Now with tomatoes, you actually can propagate from clones or from the suckers. And so there's actually not any suckers on this one. Let me show you. If you have a friend, if you can't find tomatoes where it's a deal like that, where there's multiple ones in one cell, go half in with a friend. Have them buy half the kind that you want, you buy the other half. And then what you can do is, the way that a tomato grows, or an indeterminate tomato grows, it's gonna grow indefinitely or for an undetermined amount of time as long as the conditions allow. And the way that that plant does is it vines. And so it'll send out these suckers. You can't see that. Do you see this? This is a sucker. And so this is in the terminal between the main stem and the branch. You'll see these suckers. Now it's a really good practice as you're growing tomatoes to prune these off so that you're redirecting the plant's energy back into its main stem so that it is focusing on really putting out the fruit that it has instead of continually needing nitrogen by making more green with these suckers that it can tend to get unruly. But in the beginning, if you're wanting to save some money, go in with a friend, get half and half on the tomatoes, and then keep a couple of these suckers until they get, you know, about 4 or 5 inches. Clip them off, root them in water, and then you can actually directly stick them into the soil and it will grow a clone of the parent type tomato. So that's another way to really, you know, stretch your dollar. And tomatoes and peppers are both in the nightshade family, so I did pick up some peppers, and my tips on that are just to pick the ones that are the hardest to propagate, the rarest to find, and the most nutritional value. So when you're looking at peppers, typically bell peppers, we see yellow, red, green. The color of the vegetable is indicative of the amount of sun energy that fruit required. And so the deeper and darker a color is, the more phytonutrients that vegetable has. So actually what surprises a lot of people is that a red pepper has more vitamin C than an orange or even strawberries. Strawberries actually have a lot of vitamin C too, but a red pepper has the most bang for your buck, and it's because of all of those phytonutrients from the sun energy. So I was very excited to see that there were several different peppers. This one I lost the tag, but this is actually a tricolor snacking pepper. One quick thing about peppers: don't buy the one that is the biggest and looks huge, especially if you're early in season, because what you'll want to do with your peppers is you need to focus on the scaffolding. This pepper is going to grow all throughout the season, and it'll put on 3 harvests. When you're talking about peppers, those harvests are called flushes. So it'll put on 3 flushes of peppers. The best thing to do to support that plant early in the season is to dock it. Docking it is to come in here and just cut. I'm going to cut this whole part off, throw him away. Well, I'm going to compost him. Compost that part out. And then what you'll see here is these side branches will thicken and sturdy up and will form the scaffolding necessary for this plant to survive having that heavy burden of weight of the fruit all throughout the summer. So make sure that you're not shooting yourself in the foot by picking out like the prettiest tall plant, because that will end up being the weakest plant if you don't dock it properly. And there's no point in buying the tall one if you're going to dock it anyway. This one is an early sensation sweet pepper. This is one of those bright yellow rainbow bell peppers I was talking about. And then there's actually some other fun ones that I wanted to share with you. Pimento sweet pepper. I'm Southern, y'all, so we sure are gonna make pimento cheese sandwiches this summer. And then the Purple Beauty is this black, dark black bell pepper. So I just wanted to share those with you. Oh yeah, one quick tip. I share this every year. I don't know why. I don't know what the mathematical physics of this is, but if you want to buy an organic live basil plant in the garden section, you're going to spend at minimum $4 for it. If you go over to the grocery store section, they will have a product by Shenandoah Valley. I think there's more than one provider, but it's like a living herb. So it's in the salad section, and it's a potted up organic plant. And with basil works the same way as tomatoes, where you can clone it indefinitely pretty much, as long as the conditions allow. So this was $2.50. Let me get him out of the bag so you can really appreciate him. Do you see how beautiful this plant is? For $2.50, half the price as what you would pay just 3 aisles down in the garden section. I don't know why, but it makes me really happy. And also, they don't just have basil, they have a lot of different, I've seen cilantro, rosemary, all that jazz. Rosemary is a little finicky, but still, it's a cheaper and better deal, and it's organic. So someday the great mysteries of the gardening world will be revealed to me. I suspect it's a lot like the wedding industry, where if you call it wedding cake, it's like 5 times as much as if you just say white cake, then it's cheap again. I don't know. But that's kind of my quick and dirty plant haul from Ace Hardware that I wanted to share with you. I hope that you guys are getting out into your gardens. Man, I know 2021 has just been, it's been rough. It's been rough for me personally, rough for a lot of us, but there's no greater hope. This is where I get a little bit misty. There's no greater hope than planting with intention, than claiming some part of your yard, or even if it's a public park, y'all, guerrilla gardening is a thing. You have some capacity to grow food for your tables and the tables of those in need. If you're on a patio, a balcony, a large estate, there is something good that you can grow there. If I can ever help you with that in your journey, I do virtual edible garden and permaculture planning coaching. So I'll leave some information down in the show notes. Guys, I'm rusty. I'm sorry. I've got some significant injuries. So anyway, grow what you can, where you can, when you can. You don't have to wait until you know it all, have it all, are it all, because you'll never be all of those things at once. If you don't get started, you'll never grow. So I hope that you do, and until next time,